name is James, and welcome to Mirror Domains. And this is my spoiler review for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Spoiler review. Yes. So, if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to hear spoilers, you know what to do. Something has happened. Since I did my non-spoiler review, which I will leave links to up in the cards above, I gave a score. And I'm going to change my score in this review, and you're just going to have to wait to see if it's going to go up or down, because I originally gave it a 6.5, and I said I liked it. I didn't hate it. So let's just get into this. I'm going to go through some of the characters, and in doing so, we'll talk about some of the plot points that people will have issues with. So let's just get into it. Let's start off with Palpatine. I felt like he was a little bit, yeah. He starts in the opening crawl. We see that the dead speak, and he's proclaimed himself alive, and it's just kind of like, and we don't get an explanation as to how he survived. Obviously, he used clones of Snoke that he injected himself sort of into, that he was manipulating. That's what we were supposed to believe, and then it doesn't give us much more. You know, I wanted to know more, just a little bit. Like, was that him that died on the Death Star in Episode 6, or was that just a body of his that he was just using? He said that in the movie, he said that he died before. So was that the one time that he died, or did he die multiple times before? Like, how old is Sidious? Was he always on Exegol? You know, I wanted to know something like that. And, you know, he was just using bodies throughout the galaxy to do his evil plans, which means that he is one of the most powerful Sith. I just felt like if you're going to use clones, why not just use clones of Snoke? You know, that way it doesn't really undo things from the first 6 films. It's just Snoke has picked up the mantle somehow, and just say he learned it from going to Exegol and learning all of the Sith archives and stuff like that. And that would have been enough, and it would have made a little bit more of a cohesive sense to this trilogy. Because as much as you want to argue it, they didn't set up Palpatine for 7 and 8. They didn't. They just didn't. And it's kind of like he does feel shoehorned in. And so if somebody says that that's one of their biggest gripes, I can't fault them for that. That's why I dog the story so much, because it just, yeah. So, going on with that, I did like the makeup that they used for Palpatine, with the way that his eyes were all like washed out, and he was kind of like this weird kind of ghostly kind of creature. I kind of like that. I just felt like, yeah, seeing the clones of Snoke, I was just like, well, why not just use Snoke again, right? Right? I don't know. Palpatine, yeah. Okay, so who else is a Palpatine? Rey's a Palpatine. So she's the granddaughter. And a lot of people had, speculated, well, what would happen if she was a Palpatine? And then I see all these people, just like, I don't like that. I hate that. And to that argument, I just say, well, what don't you like about it? Did you want her to be a Skywalker, like from that actual lineage? And some people say, well, no, I liked it when she came from nothing. Well, all Jedi came from nothing. So, she obviously had to come from something, because they were establishing that she had this force power that no other Jedi had ever used. And it was very well established in the early movies that the Jedi have to work for these powers. They have to spend a lifetime developing and training these powers, that she seemingly just does like that. And we find out why, because Palpatine, had an offspring that had her. Now, it does get a little bit confusing there too, because her parents that left her on Jakku, okay, so that father was Palpatine's son? I don't get it. Or were those step-parents? I really don't know. I'll have to watch it again, and there you go. It's the watchability factor is there for this movie, because you want to go back and, for multiple reasons, say, well, did I really feel like that for this film? Or just to get answers for questions. And it does have some good visuals. Talking about Rey and Daisy Ridley, this is my favorite film with her. This is the favorite I've ever seen her in this, because she has some really good scenes. And some scenes worked for me and some scenes didn't. I guess mostly just the stuff of her things happening like that easily for her, like the Deus Ex Machina stuff. I can understand how some people wouldn't like that. They just happen to be in the right place at the right time. The ship just happens to be there right there for this to happen. They have to move things along at a certain pace. Something that happened in the theater was the Reylo kiss. Okay. How did I liked that, actually. I liked it, but he should have died right there, and maybe not have a fallback scene. I just felt like, people in my theater laughed when that happened. I heard a little giggling, It was like, come on, guys. It's not that bad. There's definitely people out there that just want to hate anything. So they'll latch onto that and say, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Even though it was sort of established and built up to that throughout this trilogy. And that's the strongest thing about this trilogy is this relationship between Rey and Kylo, which I felt was fairly effective. So I liked how her story arc kind of finished off because it gave us answers. And as much people don't like that she's of some lineage, it's absolutely needed in my experience. I think it has to be there because she does things that just normally just don't happen. And it worked for. So, going on with Kylo, I liked his arc too. His redemption, I think a lot of people will have issues with. I feel like, yeah, he killed his father, Han Solo, and that makes him irredeemable. But, he doesn't, proclaim at the end that he's going to be the good. He just sort of saves Rey, and then in that sacrifice, he uses the Force to heal himself. And I felt like that stuff I thought it was handled pretty good. The Force healing kind of thing. Well, we sort of saw that this week in The Mandalorian, chapter 7, where Baby Yoda healed somebody, Karga. So we saw that ability exists, and I can see a lot of people arguing online, well, if they could have that ability, why didn't the Jedi use that so much earlier? Like, why didn't we see that earlier? Now, I don't know. Maybe it was just something that we didn't have we didn't see in the earlier films. Well, Qui-Gon got stabbed through. Why didn't Obi-Wan heal him? Well, Obi-Wan was still a Padawan back then, and he was going through the normal Jedi training that was flawed at the time. The Jedi had a skewed sense of their duties. So I can understand it wasn't used there. Was it used? Yeah. I would say that they used it somewhat, like when they get their hands cut off and stuff, like when Anakin got his arm cut off. He went into kind of a meditative state, I would say. He got knocked out, but, I'm sure that those things get fixed. Where else could we have seen it? Like, we saw that Obi-Wan was trying to do that. He was trying to feel for a pulse on one dead Jedi. Maybe he could have healed him. I don't know. That wasn't a big gripe for me. I felt like the healing stuff was okay. We kind of got the sense that they laid some groundwork for that because of the sense that Anakin felt like he could save his mother from dying. There was something there that the Jedi could do as a possibility to heal people, to save people. And I felt like that was something that was actually fairly well done. I like that when, Kylo brings her back. I just felt like it should have had a bit more of an impact. Maybe there should have been some light or something that made him drained and then, maybe die. And then maybe when he's lying on the ground, she kisses him or something, something like that. Something that maybe plays a little bit better. Okay, let's go on with some of the cameos. I liked Han Solo coming back. I felt like that scene was handled fairly well. I thought, I didn't like it at first. I didn't want to see it at first, but then I saw the dialogue and I saw the mirroring of the scene from episode 7 where he killed him, and they used some of the same dialogue. That worked for me. It worked for me. So I like that. Princess Leia, I felt like I liked her scenes for what she was in it. I felt like they used Maz Kanata well enough to augment her scenes, so we got more of a sense as to what's going on. And I like the fact that they almost implied that it was the relationship with Leia and Maz Kanata that's how Maz found Luke's original lightsaber. or Anakin's. That's the way I feel. And I felt like that stuff was handled fairly well. Yeah, of course she was probably going to die anyway, even if she was still around with us, Carrie Fisher. If she was still here with us, then I think that would have pretty much gone down the same way, but we probably wouldn't have had Maskin out of there. Okay, what else? What else is there to go into here? Yeah, just a lot of the Deus Ex Machina stuff. Like they just, they show up on the planet where they need to go exactly. Kylo shows up exactly where they are too. It's just, well, they're using the Force to do that kind of stuff. The ships, got a little out of hand at the end, I would say. The amount of them, I was kind of like, well, why didn't you yeah, that stuff, there's a lot of minor things that I would say that are huge, people take to a huge extent and say, well, no, that ruined the film for me. And it's kind of like, I don't know. Okay, let's close out with, Finn and Poe. I like Poe in this one a lot more than in episode 8, obviously. And I like the fact that they suggested that Finn was Force sensitive. And I actually like the fact that he found other people that were stormtroopers that kind of defected. I like that. I like that part. Lando, I liked, and I felt like maybe he would have been better just served showing up just in the middle part, but it was kind of cool to see him fly the Falcon again. Chewie getting the award, I felt like that was closing off that storyline, because he didn't get the award at the end of New Hope, and I felt like Leia leaving that for him was touching. And his reaction when he learned that she had passed, I like that. I felt like that was the right way to do it. That's the good way to do things. And I felt like those moments outweighed some of the things that were just kind of like thrown in there. Like I like Zori Bliss, but I felt like that was kind of like, well, we didn't need that. But she was okay. No big gripes there. Making Poe a spice, what is they call it? Somebody who transports spice, just like Han Solo. I was kind of like, you didn't really need to go there, but whatever. It didn't really take away from the story. The Knights of Ren, they say that they're just they were misused. They were not used at all, and I felt like they were actually used good enough. We get to see them a lot more than I thought they would. The way that people were describing it, they were only going to be in like 1 or 2 scenes, and they're not. So I felt like that was actually much more to my surprise I liked. And the fact that Kylo fights them at the end was good enough for me. I just wish they had more of a presence in episode 8, because obviously, Kylo works with them, right? So it's just kind of like, yeah, that's the bottom line here, is that it really shows that they didn't have a plan sitting down for this sequel trilogy. It was kind of like, okay, here's what I set up. Then Ryan did his thing, and now I got to try to make a cohesive trilogy out of those 2 movies. And people who say that it doesn't feel like a sequel to The Last Jedi, and it feels like more of a sequel to The Force Awakens, those arguments people will have and say that it is the most important thing. I don't think it is, because I think this movie addresses things in both movies. And as people say that, well, this movie just poo-poos all over The Last Jedi, I don't think it does. I think it handles it with enough tact that the point was made. The point was made where, yeah, some things could have been handled a little bit better. Especially in regards to Luke's lightsaber. I like the fact that Rey was going to throw it away, and then Luke's Force Ghost caught it and said, no, this should be taken more seriously. That, as much as people will say is poo-pooing all over The Last Jedi, no, I think that's course correcting in a good way. That's the right way that you course correct. And it actually adds to Luke's character in Last Jedi more than it does to take away from it. What else? What else can I say? I liked all the Force voices at the end. I like the fact that we heard Hayden, Liam, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Anakin Skywalker. I think people say we heard Mace. I'll have to hear that again. And Ahsoka Tano, apparently you can hear her. We hear Yoda. So all of that stuff worked for me. The reprogramming stuff of C-3PO, you know that he was going to get his mind back once he saw C-3PO. Those droids, like 3PO, goes so underused in this trilogy. I don't get it. BB-8 didn't get a whole bunch of time in this one, but we were focusing in on the story. And I feel like a lot of it didn't really drag much. Like there wasn't a lot of drag. Maybe when they're back on the Rebel base, some things dragged out, but for the most part, I liked it. And as I said, I'm going to go watch this again. I am going to revise my score here because I'm going to pull up the old score sheet here. And as you can see, it ranked to a 6.5. I'm thinking about the acting here, guys. I'm thinking about the acting. Collectively, I said it was serviceable, and it is. But in hindsight, I'm thinking between Rey and Kylo, Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver, I'm going to bump it up to a 1.5 for acting. And as far as the directing goes, so much could be said about it that I can't bump it up. I really, really want to. And I think I am going to even bump up the watchability factor because it's at 1.5 right now, which means go see it once. And most people will probably see it twice, but this one I am going to own on Blu-ray. So that's changing the score by a full point up to 7.5 for The Rise of Skywalker. And I feel okay about that. I feel okay saying that it's a 7.5. It's not going to be on the best movies of the year list, but it's going to be, for this trilogy, my favorite one. My favorite out of the new trilogy, for sure. Okay, so that's it. Let me know if I missed any plot points that you wanted me to talk about in the comments below. I'll try to address them there. And, yeah, that's it. YouTube is recommending a video for you to watch right there, and you can see my latest one just right up here. My name is James, and you're watching Mirror Domains. If you've liked what you've seen, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe.